guess there's only one thing left to do. What's that? Win the whole fucking thing.
That's what we're here to do. Welcome to Dorm Talk number 10. There's only one thing left to do. Win the whole damn thing.
Which you're not going to do.
We'll start off.
You probably won't win back-to-back weeks.
Mr. Grumpy Pants is very angry that somebody other than the Patriots is excited.
No, we're not excited, actually. This was an off week for us. It's like a loss. Winning by 1 is like a loss. Not covering the spread, it feels like a loss today. But it is.
Hold on. Well, buckle up, everybody, because the TR train is rolling. And so glad we're playing Miami on Sunday rather than Carolina. I'll take Carolina on a short week. Most physical team in football? Sure.
You guys are.
They'd be beat to hell by Thursday. So that's fine with me.
It's all over in that division, anyways. I have no idea who's going to come out of that and win it. You could even tell me the Redskins are going to win, and I wouldn't even be shocked. All right, maybe.
That's how I would rank it. I'd say Redskins, Cowboys,
I feel like
Giants.
that division's like that every year, though.
What?
It is.
I feel like every year we're just like, who the frig's going to win the NFC East? Like
every year except for last year is the only time it hasn't come down. That's what I was thinking about today. I was talking about, like, if they lose, which they probably will, I'm more than happy to admit that, it'll be the first time. What's up? It'll be the first time in the last 5 years that they'll be out of the playoffs before Week 17, because they are always playing the last game of the year.
Yeah,
it's always 9-7.
The Giants or the Eagles to win the division every year.
Yeah,
it is.
So, well, the Redskins. Yeah, well, it's not. It's not relevant because
they're irrelevant.
I'm saving all that stuff for Week 17 when I'm coming on here blazing hot after we whip up on the Jets in Week 16 to put money on the line for Week 17.
I mean, I hope so. If you guys beat the Jets Week 17, it'll probably eliminate them from the wild card.
So you're welcome. And we got Bills a week before that too. So thank you. You already brought up what was a disappointing Patriot win. Any thoughts from any?
Yeah, I got thoughts. Steve, you want to start them off?
Yeah, for me, basically every time we play the Giants, it always comes down to the end. But the difference between those Giants squads of years past and this one is that the Giants just didn't have any defense this year. But for some reason, their defense showed up to play against the Patriots, Jason Pierre-Paul, and is like one mitten of a cast that he was wearing, which I laugh at every single time I see, by the way. They really came up to play.
They talk about how he injured himself in a firework incident. I think that's my favorite part of it. That was my favorite part of the game. Just Jim Nantz suddenly bringing up it was a firework incident.
Yeah, the Patriots had a really good, it was either a really good first quarter. Yeah, it was a really good first quarter, an awful second quarter. Came out in the second half, did well, was able to put it together on the final drive. But the whole game, like my roommate's a Giants fan, and the kid I roomed with last year, who's now my neighbor's a Jets fan. And the whole time they're chirping this entire time, being like, "Oh, like it's over, they're up." I'm like, and I just kept saying, "I'm like, all right, like they got it, don't worry."
Well,
Touchdown to back of them.
I made it known that I was very pro Patriots for this game. My roommate's a Giants fan, so I didn't say anything the entire game. I just kind of sat there tweeting. I was pumped, needed it to happen. Brought me from about a 0 to about a 40 after the most just terrible end of a game in Tampa Bay with just awful. It was awful. Dez drops the ball. Dez doesn't go up for it in the end zone. Jameis fumbles on the 1. After the Cowboys pick up the fumble, they throw a flag.
Let's stick to real teams first.
Let's go. Okay, all right. I was going to talk about the Patriots. All right.
Hold on. I'm almost done.
Tom Brady's not the MVP of the NFL, and I'll tell you why right now. Tom Brady played poorly, and his team still won. If Cam Newton plays poorly, they don't win. And so he's the best player in the NFL. I wrote this. He's the best player on the planet right now. But is he the most valuable to his team? I think the Patriots win 9 or 10 games without Tom Brady.
By that stupid logic, nobody who's won MVP in the last 20 years, maybe the history of the NFL would win the MVP.
Rodgers. Every year when Rodgers wins, if you took Rodgers
said just nobody his entire career.
It's the most valuable. Dude, if J.J. Watt wasn't on Houston last year, they wouldn't have done anything. You wouldn't even know Houston had an NFL team.
Oh, I thought J.J. Watt deserved the MVP last year.
He did, because he was the most valuable player to his team.
Okay, then we need to revise. Based on your logic, we need to revise what the MVP is. MVP is the best player in football. We can say what you want. The most valuable to his team, blah, blah, blah.
Dude, it's called most valuable player.
All right.
That's what
Tom Brady's been the most valuable player in football this season. If Tom Brady was on the Carolina Panthers, they would have put up more points.
Yeah,
Cam
they
Newton has
would
about
have.
an 80 quarterback rating. How can you possibly say that Cam Newton's better? The year that Tom Brady had a supporting cast like Cam Newton had, Tom Brady had an 87 quarterback rating. They went 12-4 and they went to an AFC championship. There's absolutely no way you can tell me that Cam
Well, then
Newton.
Tom Brady should have won the MVP that year.
He should have won the MVP that year. Instead, Peyton Manning had to throw 55 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe you throw Peyton Manning a bone. 55 touchdowns. If Peyton Manning, you saw that team before. The year before he threw 55 touchdowns, they were nothing.
Yeah, but then they had
Tebow.
Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, Julius Thomas, Monty Ball, C.J. Anderson, like 8,000 other people.
You should be hung for your fire take. Like,
Dude,
Let's get back to
you
the
guys
game.
are ridiculous. I'm trying to say that the Patriots are the best team because without Brady, they're still good enough to go 10-6, 12-4, 11-5.
11-5 under Matt Castle.
Exactly. You saw Matt Castle. They went 11-5 with Matt Castle.
they were 16-0 the next year. If you go,
No, the year
if you go
before.
10-6 and then you go 5-11, are you a good team or what?
No, dude, I don't. I'm making sense.
I'm glad
saying
you think that.
There's two MVP candidates, and the one winning is Cam Newton. Without him, if you took the two undefeated teams and took a player off either team that would make them not undefeated, it would be Tom Brady and Cam Newton. However, I think the Patriots would still have a winning record. Without Cam Newton, I don't think the Panthers have a winning record.
The whole irony of all this, the irony of all this is that weeks ago we talked about this, and I said that Cam Newton was playing great football and that he deserves to be in the MVP conversation. Like now you're making me look like I think Cam Newton's a chump.
No. I'm just saying that's what I think. That's what I think.
My question is there anybody in the entire AFC that's going to compete with Brady for the Offensive Player of the Year?
No. He's the Offensive Player of the Year. If the NFL had an Offensive Player of the Year, if they had a Player of the Year award, Tom Brady would win by 5 gazillion votes.
Like my question is
He's
like,
going to win the MVP by 5 gazillion votes because he's thrown for 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns.
So is every quarterback that's played the Saints this year. Did you see that stat? It's my favorite stat of all time.
what is it?
What?
The collective. So if every quarterback that played the Saints, if you added all their stats up and made them like one quarterback, so like Brady's QBA, right? What does he have? 29 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, something like that? Or
24 touchdowns, 3 picks.
All right. The Saints have 2 picks and have let up 30 touchdowns or something like that. Passer rating equal to Brady's, yards equal to, like, it just shows like this isn't a knock on Brady, but I just thought this was hilarious. That's how bad they made Kirk Cousins, Brandon Weeden, these guys on average as a collective, as if they were one quarterback, were still. That's how good Brady is, and that's how bad the Saints have been.
It's so weird to see the Saints fall from grace after Bountygate to just being absolutely awful, like just defensively.
I wrote this a couple weeks ago too, that the Saints winning the Super Bowl was the end of their good forever. It was the peak. It was like the Ravens.
Well, that was when other personnel were in their prime, but I mean, like at the same time, then they didn't know it was going to hit them after.
They have no cap room. They don't have anything.
Right.
I like the pun, Frisco. You didn't know it was going to hit them.
What? That's not funny. We can't go.
Are you, Presco? Did you just wish another?
No, that was.
Wish
Oh my
another
God!
hurricane
No,
in New
that
Orleans?
was a Bountygate pun, not a.
Dave, you tried to trap him in there. Dave wants another hurricane in New Orleans.
What?
That's basically what he just asked for. Dave was just like.
That's what I thought he was getting at. I thought he was making Katrina jokes. That's way better than what I thought.
No.
I'm pretty sure that's how it
All
went.
right,
All right, let's move on. Any other NFL takeaways? NFL Week 10? Was it Week 10? I think it was Week 10, right?
Can we go back to the Patriots game? I have a lot more thoughts than Tom
All right,
Brady.
let's hear him. Let's hear your thoughts.
Okay. This was obviously an interesting game, but I mean, the most interesting piece of it was that offensively, you mentioned it, Tom Brady didn't play well. New England's offense didn't play well in general. And I think part of the reason why Brady didn't play so well is because he's used to playing where? From out of the gun. For some reason, if you look at the amount of snaps that he took under center, I mean, I reckon to say that near over 50% of his snaps were from directly under center. That's not how the Patriots operate. Was it a product of them not being able to spread the Giants out because they didn't have Deion Lewis? Because they didn't have Julian Edelman, possibly. But I thought it was a huge disappointment. I thought the play calling was disappointment. How many times did we see the Patriots go run, pass? A lot of times it worked. They converted the third downs. They're really good at those short intermediate routes, and we know that. But if we just spread out the Giants' defense the entire night, I think it would have been a totally different story.
Absolutely.
Huge concern going forward with with Edelman and Dion Lewis being gone now. Dion Lewis alone was a big concern. Caused a lot of matchup problems with linebackers, a whole bunch of stuff like that. And people could argue, well, Brandon Bolden beat a linebacker for a TD. James White's got equal speed. That's all well and good. But in the end of the day, Dion Lewis is one of the more versatile players. He had almost 100 yards from scrimmage every game this year, which is something we haven't seen from the running back position for the Patriots in a long time, not even Shane Vereen. Without Edelman, they're screwed. Not to say that they're not going to be an effective offense, but they're not going to be a juggernaut for the most part, in my opinion.
I think
Go
kind of based on what you're saying there is they're gonna allow teams to double Gronk, and they're gonna allow because LaFell's good, dude, but Brandon LaFell is not Randy Moss. You know what I mean? He can't.
No, he's not even close. They don't have a single guy that can go vertical, and that's what made this offense good. They didn't need a guy that went vertical. They were also good at those shorter intermediate routes. Now they don't have that third down guy.
Nobody sets a pick like Edelman either.
I'm going to disagree with you guys here just because...
Amendola's pretty good at it, actually.
Yeah,
Amendola's really good at it.
I'm going to disagree with you guys just because while teams are going to double up on Gronk, it's going to open up a lot more space for Amendola and LaFell, although they haven't been as reliable as they have been. LaFell has been nowhere near as he was last year. Amendola has been silently good, but he's only been moderately okay. Hasn't been thrust into a big position role since really that first game in the Patriots uniform against Buffalo 2 years ago. I think you're going to see Amendola really come into his own these last stretch of games. Just like they have a little bit of a lighter schedule after the Broncos coming up next week. Then they have they got the Bills on Monday night this week, the Broncos afterwards. They have the Jets one more time. That'll be a tough matchup. They got the Dolphins, which I think they're going to crush them. And then they have the NFC East. They still got to go. They still got to finish with the Eagles, right? Yeah.
Murder 'em.
So I think. Yeah, I think the Patriots. What?
I said murder him.
Yeah,
they probably
I think the Patriots.
Okay.
I think the Patriots are going to be fine.
No, they're going to win games.
No. What I'm saying,
put up.
I
35.
think they're overreacting. I think the Patriots. What do they go from the best offense in the NFL to maybe the third best?
Right.
And that's if I don't. I'm not. I wouldn't be worried about it. The best quarterback in the league is on that team.
Yeah,
and
especially
he made Dion Lewis a star. Literally, dude, he makes guys. Brady makes these guys. Of Gronk, exceptional. Edelman on another team is good, but he's not as good as he is with Brady.
Well, the only quorum I have with that is that Edelman's the type of guy that everybody calls him a slot receiver, and he's most effective at the slot. But what makes him so great is he can even line up at the X, and he does so a lot.
Yeah, and he can block downfield. Dude, Edelman's a gamer. Edelman is a Boston A+ athlete.
Right.
And that's the thing too. Is Edelman as athletic or as freakish enough as Dez is that he could come back in 6 weeks? No, but he's
Probably
tough.
not.
I'll promise you that if there's a chance Julian Edelman can fit his foot in a cleat, he'll play. So that's the dude's a baller. So
yeah,
6 to 8 weeks is perfect timing too for the Patriots. Just if they are able to get that first round bye in the playoffs, that the week that Edelman is eligible to come back after even 8 weeks, if it is stretched the longest it can be, is that first round matchup for the Patriots after the bye. So it'll be good for them offensively. Losing Dion Lewis sucks, but they still have LeGarrette Blount, who we all see what he can do. He runs downfield really well. He's just such a great player. He hasn't been utilized too much this season with Dion Lewis. With him going down, they're definitely going to lean on him. Brandon Bolden, who in his own right can block really well. He's a good runner on third down when he needs to be from short gains, like a 3rd and 4 type of player. And then you have James White. Hopefully you can kind of develop him into more of a Shane Vereen player where he's a pass-catching back out of the backfield there. So if you use him and then Amendola, kind of do a little patchwork on the offense, just try to – you don't need to go undefeated, but if you can get a first-round bye, home field advantage, you'll be good.
I wouldn't. Once they clinch the NFC East, I wouldn't let Gronk. I'd wrap Gronk up.
Yeah.
Wrap him up. Scott Chandler, like I said to Dave, Scott Chandler, I called that touchdown. I was like, Chandler scoring a touchdown.
He's a good player. He's a good player. I wish we got the ball in his hands more, but instead we decided to go into punch
Maybe
formation.
he will now, dude. I don't know. Dude, but that Giants team, that's an exception. That's an aberration because that secondary is horrible. And
I
I've
don't
been
understand
saying,
why we didn't spread. I don't understand why the Patriots didn't spread them out the entire
Yeah.
time. Go gun
Yeah.
and go make them,
It was strange.
match up
go to the
one-on-one.
top. I don't know. I think, I mean, dude, Landon Collins. That's overlooked. Landon Collins
What a
should have caught that ball.
No
And
kidding.
the only reason he was in position to catch it is because he got burned. I mean, dude, the dude was wide open. If Brady didn't have guys in his face there, that's a touchdown, and they're laughing at the Giants.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk a little. We'll just go another second or two more on this game, and we'll talk. Well, we got a couple things that you're gonna love to talk about. I just want a question for you guys. How scared, not scared, but how uncomfortable were you during the Giants schoolyard bullshit play at the end of the game?
Okay, no, I got like squeamish, like my stomach.
When he started running left, and I was like, oh my god, no way, no. And I really rooted against the Giants. I would have been so Giants if they scored.
I literally said.
Yeah, I was that. All right, we'll move in.
I almost lost my mind.
NFL Week 10, Matt. You've been waiting to say it. Cincinnati Bengals.
They lost.
They lost. They laid an egg. Andy Dalton, after the game, Watt called him out. Andy Dalton could have burned him. He could have been like, dude, we lost, but I mean, if you're gonna come at me with something better than that.
Can I talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, let's hear it.
That's exactly what I expect a wuss redhead quarterback to do. That's exactly what I expect. J.J. Watt, by the way, is a dork. And I think everybody's kind of figured that out.
I used to be so J.J. Watt, and I can't do it anymore.
I can't. We've talked about this. J.J. Watt's a nerd. Everybody understands that. And he comes out with like a half-ass kind of dig at him, like, oh, we made the red rifle look like the, what was it, like the red
Rider BB gun.
Christmas story.
Yeah, lame comment.
Andy Dalton should have said, we'll see you in the playoffs, and I'll shoot your eye out. That would have been unreal. Like, that would have been, like, you're actually not a weenie, but he's a weenie, so.
That's what I'm saying. Instead, he comes back with kind of a half-ass remark. He's like, hey, you look like a BB gun, blah, blah, blah. Terrible, terrible chirp. Instead, Dalton comes out. He's all offended by this. You would have thought he insulted Dalton's mother. Like, I don't understand what happened.
It was weak. All right.
Yeah, I feel like Andy Dalton, literally, if Andy Dalton just laughs when he hears that, it's just like, sure, dude, and just like acts like it doesn't bother him. Everyone's like, look at how badass Andy Dalton is. Gets chirped down, like, cool, and just keeps going.
J.J. Watt too, running high. He was if A.J. Green didn't have praying mantis arms, they lose that game because Dalton was throwing a touchdown. There was a touchdown to be made on that drive. They were all over him, and then Dalton made some big throws. I didn't think Dalton was a problem in that game. They had a ton of drops.
He was pretty bad.
He made a couple bad passes. I'll give you that. Eifert catches 2 of the 3 balls he drops. A.J. Green doesn't fumble. The Bengals win by 3 touchdowns.
Well, true, but at the same time, you could say in that fourth quarter there were 2 or 3 passes where he threw the ball very, very late. Maybe like we're talking 2 or 3 seconds late.
Yeah, do right in the hands.
And twice that happened. So I mean, you could say the same thing.
Right. One more for you. This is what I know you've been waiting to say it. I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to throw it up on my screen. What do you have? What do you have for me on number 18?
All right. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be totally different this week with Peyton Manning because I genuinely feel bad for him now. I'm actually being serious.
Yeah, me too, man.
For me, it used to be about like, why did I get so defensive about Peyton Manning all the time? Because he was the only quarterback up until Aaron Rodgers that I had ever seen that came close to watching Tom Brady. Okay, Peyton Manning was a machine. He's a genius. He still is a football genius, and he'll go down as one of the 5 best quarterbacks probably to ever play the game of football. But it's over now. You know what? And my problem is if Peyton Manning can't be the upstanding gentleman that he's supposed to be, like Drew Brees was in week 2 or 3 of this season, where Drew Brees said, McCown gives us a better chance to win the game, I'm going to let him play. Peyton Manning needs to be the bigger man and say, Brock Osweiler gives us a better chance to win the game, I'm going to let him play. In the last 3 games, Peyton Manning's thrown 2 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. In the season, he's thrown almost 2,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions, which is already 2 more than he threw all of last season, which was considered a down year for him.
Dude, I don't.
And I feel bad for him. But to be clear, I just want to say this. This does not take away from what I thought of Peyton Manning as a quarterback. Because for him and Brady, for guys like him and Brady, the status that they've achieved, what they have done in the last 3-4 years only adds to their legacy. They could only get better. You can't tell me because Peyton Manning's having a down year at the age of 39 that you take away from what he's done.
Yeah.
People are doing that right now, and it's driving me crazy. Even for Peyton Manning, who you guys know I love to death. But
no, Peyton Manning's 39 years old. Most guys aren't NFL capable when they're 39. I think that's coming. 2 years ago, he broke the touchdown record. So
that's insane. That's what I'm saying.
It's a shame. All right, I got one for you, for the Patriot group out there. In Week 12, would you rather face Peyton Manning or Brock Osweiler?
Dave, go.
Peyton Manning, because I want us
not to beat Peyton Manning. I know you guys like to rub your shit in his mouth and all that. Would you, as from not a fear, but from a opponent standpoint,
who's going to be the easier? Who would be an easier matchup? Brock Osweiler.
Just because Osweiler is going to be easier.
No,
yeah, just because
I think I would so much rather play Peyton Manning than Osweiler right now.
I would so much rather play Osweiler because it's Manning, it's the Patriots, it's probably one of his last chances, if not his last chance to beat New England. It's at Mile High, right?
It's at Sports Authority Field.
Yeah, it's at home. It's
very Broncos, by the way, because Dix is better than Sports Authority. So it's like the Patriots are Dix and they're Sports Authority.
It's all right.
It's just
Cowboys and Models.
If the Broncos and Manning are going to beat the Patriots, it has to be this one last time in Week 12 because there's no other way they're going to be able to do it. So I think I would be afraid of Peyton just because of him rallying around it one last time.
I'm with you, Tim. I'd rather face Peyton Manning all day. And the reason being, anytime he's faced even an adequate defense, he's just gotten swallowed up. You look at Green Bay, people are like, oh, well, he had moderate success against Green Bay. He threw for 300 yards. He moved the ball downfield well, completed, I think, 55% of his passes. Green Bay is the 21st ranked pass defense in all of football.
They're horrible.
So, it's not like they're that great. He faces the 15th ranked pass defense in football in the Chiefs. Gets swallowed up, has a 0 quarterback rating, and throws 4 picks. If he played the Patriots and got game planned against by Bill Belichick, there's no doubt in my mind he has a terrible game. He had a terrible game last season.
That's what I'm saying, too. I think it's the advantage of not having one film on Osweiler. Obviously, Belichick's going to have a great game plan and all that. I think they would crush Peyton Manning. They would break Peyton Manning. He's broken. You guys seen Warrior? You guys seen the movie Warrior?
I've heard of it.
All right, spoiler alert.
Yeah, I know the movie.
So they're two brothers, right? At the end of the movie, they're UFC fighters, and at the end, they're in the final match of the tournament. And the brother has Tom Hardy on the bottom, and they're fighting, and he has him he's gonna break his arm, and he's like, "Don't make me do it, man." He's like, "Don't." He's like, "Just tap out, just tap out." And the dude doesn't tap out, and he breaks his arm. That's what the Patriots would do.
That's exactly. No mercy. Bill's got no mercy.
They bury him, right? And Tom Brady would be on the sidelines like, Bill, you got to take it easy on him. And he's throwing the blitz. He's pulling Ty Law to retirement.
It's like that scene in Rocky IV where the Russians is absolutely beating up Apollo Creed, and you just see the trainer throw the towel, please make it stop, and Apollo Creed just dies.
Exactly. He's gonna actually. So Osweiler
if he does die in Denver, I wouldn't be surprised. But
honestly, that's an excellent defense, and you can win. Russell Wilson knows you can win. You can win a lot of games when you have a good defense.
No, there's no question about it. That's the thing. I think Brock Osweiler is at least serviceable. He certainly has a stronger arm. He's a little bit more athletic than Peyton, can make plays happen in that sense. Not to say that he's Russell Wilson or Andrew Luck and anything like that. Well, not Andrew Luck right now, but when it comes to mobility, I'm not saying he's not any in that category. Excuse me, but he does all right for himself. You saw against the Chiefs some glimpses of his ability to throw the football. So, he's a little bit better. Minor step up from Peyton Manning. I can't believe I'm saying that about Brock Osweiler.
Here's my bold take of the week. If Seattle had a great quarterback, they'd be unstoppable. Russell Wilson has separated himself from Andrew Luck. Not the way you want to. I think that I was watching this stuff, dude. The same thing I watched the Seahawks game the other day. There's nothing spectacular about Russell Wilson the entire game. He'll have like a drive at the end where you're like, wow, this guy's pretty good, but he doesn't take over a game. The defense wins them games.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could also say, like, there's been multiple instances, even in the playoffs, where he's had some pretty important drives, some pretty important plays. And sure, it's definitely a product of the defense, but I think a lot of great quarterbacks have been a product of good defensive play. I mean, I'd even venture to say Tom Brady, who I think is the greatest quarterback that have ever played the game of football, he's been a lot of his great moments have been a product of his defenses as well. So, I mean, in the opposite.
A lot of his worst moments, too.
Yeah.
All of his worst moments. Both Super Bowl losses. Well, yeah. So I was just thinking about this. I think he's absolutely overrated as a quarterback. I think Carson Palmer was well better than him. And even he's got a bad offensive line on it, but dude, he's got Jimmy Graham. You know, it's not like, and they don't have a lot of great receivers either. But dude.
He's thrown 10 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He hasn't been good. You're right.
I think a lot of Russell Wilson's shortcomings this season have a lot to do with Marshawn Lynch not playing well because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. It's kind of make that offense a lot more one-dimensional. So teams are kind of neglecting the run because who do they have? Like who's that guy that they have running back starts like Turabian or something like that?
Thomas Rawls.
Rawls.
He's good. He's the only running back that the Cowboys haven't signed off Seattle's team.
Yeah, it's just like
every single running back. Turbin, Michael, Rod Smith. They signed Turbin today.
It's just like their offense has become one-dimensional, so their defenses are not neglecting the run, but they're a lot more focused on the pass and containing Russell Wilson's dual threat option. So,
well, Susan, I think another way of saying that you could also, to play devil's advocate, I think you could also say that a lot of Russell Wilson's success has been predicated upon the success of Marshawn Lynch on the ground.
Yeah, you could say that. I'm not saying that that Russell Wilson is like this fantastic elite quarterback. I think he's very good. I think I could.
I thought he was close. To be honest with you, at the beginning of this year, I thought he was close, and I'm still not going to write him off. But
I think he has a similar skill set to Joe Flacco, but he's more consistent.
All right.
To who?
Flacco.
I don't know. I think Flacco makes his guys better. I think there's a group of quarterbacks that make their guys better, and there's a group of quarterbacks that are made better by their guys. And I think Stafford is a guy that's made better. Let me. I have a list. Yeah, Stafford. There's 6 guys. I think Breeze, Rodgers, Brady, right? Romo, Eli. Those guys and Flacco make their wide receivers better, and I think Wilson, Stafford, who else did I have? Oh, Rivers too, as absolutely in the other group. But they're like the kind of different groups. Matt Ryan made better by his Peyton right now, made better by their guys.
Andy Dalton with AJ Green.
No, I think Dalton's been the difference this year. They've had those guys. They're good now because Dalton's good. So you know what I mean? So
you could say that
about anything. You could say about anybody, but that's just kind of all right. We've been talking about. We need to talk about college football.
Minor thing, I think Russell Wilson also he's made like Doug Baldwin kind of into like not like a great receiver, but he's been respectable. Same with like.
I think more that systems made him into a great receiver, less than Russell Wilson himself.
I think if he wasn't such a loudmouth punk, you wouldn't even know his name.
He's a freaking scumbag. That's exactly right. Doug Baldwin does nothing but run his mouth and then make a play on occasion. He's only okay. He'll always only be okay.
Speaking of that, I'll bite my tongue. Malcolm Butler was awesome on Odell Beckham.
Really good.
One bad play, but he locked him down. I'd like to see him against like a stud, big receiver. Like
I want to see him on Dez when Dez is healthy. I want to see him.
Well, he will. Wait till February, man.
Okay, yeah. The whole damn thing.
Also want to give a final screw you to Peyton Manning. I was playing Georgia this week in fantasy football, and I was between Manning and Joe Flacco as to who to play quarterback. Would have won with Flacco, got -7, took the loss with Peyton. I knew I had to score a lot of points to win, so I had Peyton and Carson Palmer. It's like Palmer's not going to do well against Seattle. And I had Peyton, and I was like, dude, Peyton, I don't know about Peyton against Kansas City. So I picked up Castle because I have Dez, and I was like, if Castle throws 2 touchdowns to Dez, it's over. Castle had 6 points, and I had 11 more points than I would have had with.
Yeah, you would have got negative.
And I still got
-7
smoked. I scored
a
60
loss.
points. All right, let's
What a
talk
time.
college football. Huge game this weekend. Or some people might think it's huge. I don't. College game day, Michigan State, Ohio State. Don't think we need to make picks. I know you guys might want to pick Michigan State, but it's going to be bad.
I'm
Massacre.
actually not going to pick Michigan State. I talked about this today on my radio show. Ohio State deserves a hell of a lot more credit than they're getting. They're going down in the rankings, and what's funny is, like, I think all the NCAA is doing right now, and I know I'm kind of making this a separate discussion, but I just wanted to bring this
Setting
up.
up Notre Dame to make the playoff.
Well, you could make that argument, but I'm going to stick to more of this. I think they're trying to right their wrongs here from last year. Last year they ranked Florida State #1 the whole way because based off the fact that they're the champs, they won, they keep winning.
They were also the only undefeated team, though.
Yeah, but like I understand what you're saying. But like you can understand, they're right now. Ohio State's what in the rankings? Third. So like you're not even the second best team. You're the third best team according to the rankings.
Second best team has a loss to an LSU team that's not.
Well, pretty
not doing
one-dimensional.
great.
Pretty
Yeah,
one-dimensional.
so
So that's what I'm saying. They're just trying to right their wrongs here.
Yeah, as far as the rankings go, I think if Ohio State wins out, we'll be #1 by the bracketing, because if they win out, they'll have beaten Michigan State #8, Michigan will probably be #10, and Iowa's 5. Bang, bang, bang in a row. You can't say that Clemson's beat anybody better,
Yeah.
except for Notre Dame. And so they beat #4, we beat #5, and we beat 8 and 10 too. So if they went out, they'll be there. My bold prediction, Matt Hyzak and Graham Billings were talking about this on Twitter, and I've been thinking about this for a while. My bold statement is that I think Clemson is going to lose to North Carolina, and by doing that, Clemson is going to knock out Notre Dame and themselves. And Oklahoma, it's going to be Ohio State, Alabama, Oklahoma, and then the fourth team is either going to be Notre Dame or North Carolina, and I think it's going to be North Carolina.
What is North Carolina ranked?
13, but they only have one loss. And their one loss was the first game of the year, South Carolina.
Yeah, but
But if they beat #1 Clemson, they win the ACC championship, because that's the ACC championship game. They'll have one loss, and then at that point you can't say Clemson's one loss is better than their one loss because they beat Clemson.
Yeah,
And
but
Clemson beat Notre Dame. So if you put Notre Dame above North Carolina at that point, you're saying you're contradicting yourself, and you're saying Notre Dame's there because they're the brand. And as an Ohio State fan, I'm thankful they take into account the brand, because we wouldn't have won the national championship last year without it. But I think Ohio State, the way they're seeing it right now, Ohio State was playing the best football in the country towards the end of the year. After winning 59-0, you couldn't have said they weren't. But so Notre Dame, Stanford losing hurts to them. I think they're going to lose. Oh, here we go. This is what I think they're going to lose to Boston College on Saturday. I think Boston College is somehow going to get 10 points, 14 points, and Notre Dame's only going to score 10.
you're a fool.
I think that's just you brought this up earlier. I think that's one of the most ludicrous things I've ever heard. BC literally couldn't score against the JV football team. We've already brought that up 100 times. How on earth what rationale are you using
Dude,
right now?
it's just a hunch, dude. And there's nobody more bitter and more angry at Boston College than myself. It's just a hunch. It's going to be the upset of the year.
I can't even muster up. I just can't even muster up a response to that. Like I don't even know. Like I could try and say. Go ahead, Dave.
This should just be enough. Do you know who's playing quarterback at BC?
John Fadul.
A kid who
John Fadul.
He was on the practice. He's a walk-on to the practice squad.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season. He's not even a walk-on.
He won the ISL last year.
He's a walk-on to the He is walking on to the team that gets to get the shit kicked out of them by the team who can't score offensively. And now he's their starting quarterback.
We'll see.
Because 8,000
It's a hunch. Right?
All right.
All right, college game day's here Saturday. Any sign ideas for me? Nothing. I think I'm gonna do.
That's
my
the sign ideas on my thing.
I think I'm gonna do. My mama don't like MSU, and she likes everyone.
All right, that could
Or
work. That could work.
Connor
That's
Cook.
simple enough.
My buddy's doing a Mark May Tinder profile. It's gonna be funny. We got it right there on the bed. Our sign.
You guys, you just need to recreate Diet Coke guy. Just like stand on someone's shoulders, dump Diet Coke on yourself.
Hey, forget about Ohio State football. Syracuse, they gave Clemson a
Yeah, dude, we were going full bore for him. That would have been awesome.
It is what it is.
Incredible. So, hey, that's a great effort, though. Did you go?
I didn't go. I went to obviously, I go to more basketball games than I do football. Yeah. Usually football's insufferable, but, it is what it is.
I mean, I don't blame you for expecting an ass whooping.
I did watch the game, though. I did watch the game.
All right. We talked a little bit about Rousey. Matt, you have any thoughts about Ronda Rousey on Sunday?
I thought it was interesting. To be honest with you, this was actually pretty monumental in my eyes because she's losing her whole brand. Like, her whole brand was essentially like, I knock people out. Like, I kick the shit out of you in 5 minutes and then I walk away and do my thing. She got the shit kicked out of her. Like, that's just unheard of. It's like it's actually incredible. That's how she started her brand. It wasn't like I win a lot. Like, Floyd is like, I beat you a lot. Like, I don't necessarily kick the shit out of you, but I win and I win and I win.
I don't lose.
Exactly. Her brand is, I absolutely kick the living shit out of you, and all I do is win. Floyd, imagine this. Just imagine Floyd losing. I mean, even deep into his career, it would totally change everything about him. The difference is Rousey's really young, or relatively young. So
yeah, it's funny. Just good, I was a big Rousey guy. I thought she could do it, but it's always good to see somebody. It was always good to see Chad Ochocinco get shut up, and it was always good to see Steve. It's always good to see Steve. I mean, I feel bad for Steve Smith getting hurt, but he's a loudmouth. Always nice. It's good to see Richard Sherman lose. You know what I mean? It's good. You guys you want to root against. It's good to see him lose.
Hot take of the year: Ronda Rousey can still beat Floyd Mayweather in a.
Good effort, Dave. Good effort.
I know it's just because we were saying earlier, like Holly Holm, like the reason she beat her is because she made Ronda Rousey box. Yeah, but if you watched any of Floyd Mayweather's fights, he doesn't box and come at you and try to beat you. He just tries to sit back and win on points, which is exactly what he did.
Dude, that's what Holly Holm did. Holly Holm punched her and then waited for her to punch back, and she couldn't. Did you see? You saw.
Floyd Mayweather's never lost a fight in his life. He's the best.
Dave, do you think Holly Holm could beat? Dave, do you think Holly Holm could beat Floyd Mayweather? Say yes, and I'm going to kick you out of this conversation.
No.
We have a button that can kick you out.
Yeah, I can kick you out. I haven't used it yet. I need somebody that's like kick-outable. We don't really have any.
I know, but Dave is getting there right now. That's like one of the most ludicrous things I've ever heard in my freaking life. The best fighter of our generation, who's fought 49 fights and has never lost, is going to lose to Ronda Rousey.
The thing is, Matt, how many has Floyd Mayweather fought by knockout? How many fights has he won because he went in and kicked the shit out?
Who cares? He still hasn't won. He's still been fighting for years.
Dude, he's won 50. I used to think that Rousey could beat him up.
I think she can.
Dude,
that's how she. I feel like she has to. That's the only way she gets back on the national stage, right?
You're wrong.
Floyd never fight her, dude.
Capital Ong.
Floyd waited for her to be pregnant, like he waited for Pacquiao to get old. Bold take of the week.
That's a Skip Bayless move. That's a Skip Bayless bullshit move.
For Dave?
Yes. No, not you. That's a Skip Bayless move right there. Just out of thin air, throwing some shit out there, hoping people catch on. Come on, you're better than that. You're better than that.
We're not biased. We're right, Dave.
Exactly.
Right? We can send you somewhere else.
We're always right, and you're wrong.
Don't do it.
All right, Dave. Nice November mustache, by the way. Really good.
Yeah, let's see that again. Let me click on this again. What do you got going for yourself?
Hey, start talking.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I shaved the other night just because I look awful with like facial hair because it comes in really really patchy. So I didn't go with the mustache because like people were gonna think I was like some 13-year-old kid who didn't know how to shave yet. So I was trying to just avoid that look.
I mean, I don't know. I'm
worried. You guys saw me try to rock the beard earlier in the year and how awful that was, right?
Yeah, I do remember that too. You pretty much just can't be right, I guess, today.
I'll just donate.
All right. We got to wrap up. We've been on for a while. Oh, dude. Let's just have we're not gonna do walk off today. We're gonna have a Big Papi memorial here.
I like that.
What is your number one David Ortiz moment?
It's easy.
Go for it.
Does it have to be like a personal one, or does it have to be what I think is personal?
Dude, what? No. To you, when were you? I mean, because obviously 2004, you could say that and all the stuff he did. But what was your number one David Ortiz moment?
Now, I mean, that's obviously it for me. That's like 2004. People don't understand. that team had a lot of chemistry. That team was a great team in general. I mean, it was one of the best pitching staffs the Red Sox had ever had in their history. It's a great reason why we won. It was a recipe for success for a lot of teams down the stretch, including us 3 years later. But people don't seem to get that we're not even in the series without the ALDS. He was playing well before Game 4.
I'm going to strip it after.
He'd been playing well throughout the entirety of the playoffs. People even forget he had a walk-off home run against the Angels in the ALDS.
That was huge.
Okay? He is the most clutch hitter in the history of baseball. And in 2004, when he took over that series, people just don't seem to give him enough credit. He legitimately carried the Red Sox that year. It wasn't just clutch. He was unbelievable all series.
Dave, what do you got?
My favorite Big Papi moment's got to be 2013. 2 days after the Boston Marathon, they're at Fenway Park. They got the shirts on that say Boston. He gives his "This is our fucking city" speech, and everybody just went insane. Like you have some guy who's not from the area, they're not from America, so you kind of just see like maybe you're not sure how their culture is going to translate, and this guy just fit in seamlessly. Like it wasn't even like a contest for him. He's like, look, I've been here 10 years with you guys. I understand how everything important is to you guys, especially like sports in general, like the Boston Red Sox and the Marathon. So we're not going to let anybody dictate our freedom. Just went out there and won a World Series for us again. Third time.
Well, I'll keep it in 2013 because I think 2004 covers it pretty well. That World Series was incredible. But the moment of that playoffs, it's always with the Red Sox. It always seems like the ALCS, except for 07 because they played the Tigers. But the home run over Torrey Hunter's head, man, where you watch the game, you're like, damn, they're down, and finally teams kind of got a hook on them, and dude, he just yoked that ball, and the umpire with his hands up, or the security, dude, that was vintage Papi, man. And there were always times where you watch a game in August, and he's up in the bottom of the 10th inning, and you look over, and you're just like, dude, he's gonna hit a home run, and he just every time. It seems like every time they wore the red jerseys, he hit a home run too.
What is it? When I remember that game, I was in like one of my buddies' basement. I remember earlier that day, it was me. I went up to Newburyport, visited Evan Roberts, hung out with him for the day. Tom Brady leads a 35-second game-winning drive against the Saints. Touchdown to Kimbrel.
That same day on the 13th. I remember that.
And like 2 hours, like 4 hours later, Papi yokes that one. It was the best day ever.
It was awesome, man. So we'll leave it at that. There is one other thing. Although we're not doing the walk-off, I do have to put this in. On late Monday night, early Tuesday morning at the Joe Andruzzi Foundation, left tackle for the New England Patriots, not Logan Mankins, who am I thinking of right now? Nate Solder.
Nate Solder announced that his son Hudson had cancer. He found a lump on his son's kidney when he was giving him a bath. Took him to a screening, found out he has cancer. He's 4 months old, currently undertaking chemotherapy right now. So we hope for the best for you, Hudson Solder.
Yeah, and absolutely. And you kind of think, you talk about Nate Solder and he's hurt and everything. It's almost like somebody's watching out for him, man. He gets to be home and taking care of his kid. And
yeah, it's pretty crazy the way things work.
So, all right, thanks guys. See you later.
Peace.